Laser sights enhance and maintain your accuracy in a time of crisis, preventing tunnel vision and allowing quick target acquisition in awkward shooting positions. Crimson Trace, making laser sights standard equipment. Learn more at crimsontrace.com.
The number one national voice in defense of your Second Amendment rights. Gun Talk, available on iTunes and on the free Gun Dealio smartphone app for Android and iPhone. To be on the air with Tom, call us now, 866-825-5486 or 1-TOM-TALK-GUN. Now, here's Tom.
All right, welcome back to Gun Talk. Tom Gresham here. If you'd like to join us, just call in, 866-TALK-GUN or Tom-TALK-GUN. A couple of cases involving the Second Amendment Foundation. In Chicago, the judge has rebuked Chicago, the city of Chicago, in a case that the Second Amendment Foundation brought. The judge, Robert M. Dow, he rejected the city's bid to dismiss the case brought about by the owner of Second Amendment Arms, that's the name of the store, in 2010. The city withheld his permit to have a gun store there. They keep trying this stuff. They keep throwing this stuff out. They keep getting overturned, and they're going to lose this one too. And Rahm Emanuel, Mr. Gun Control himself, from the Clinton administration, of course, is busy with that. And another release from the Second Amendment Foundation, they have filed a petition with the U.S. Supreme Court for certiorari to try to get them to take the case of Sylvester versus the California Attorney General. This involves the 10-day waiting period. California has a 10-day waiting period law. And it was ruled against by the Ninth Circuit, and then the whole court took it and overruled it. And so currently, California still has a 10-day waiting period. 10-day waiting period. Now, here's the problem. You have to endure the waiting period even if you own a gun. So wait. The premise here is it's a cooling off period, right? Which is nonsense. We know that doesn't work. What it does is the waiting period gets people killed. We know of women who've been killed because they couldn't get their gun to protect themselves against an abusive spouse, and they ended up getting killed while they're waiting for the paperwork to go through. But this was pure nonsense. You have a gun. You have a closet full of guns. But to buy another gun, you have to have another 10-day waiting period. So this has been appealed to the United States Supreme Court. We'll see if they take it. If they do, we'll see what happens. Oh, excuse me. Shouldn't have those peanuts during the break. Okay, a lot of things going on. We like to talk about gear. We like to talk about shooting. And one of the guys we really like to talk with about all this stuff is Paul Earhart with Apex Tactical. Hey, Paul, how you doing?
Hey, I'm happy Labor Day or Labor Day weekend, or as I like to think of it, happy opening of dove season.
Yes, amen. Isn't that the truth? Holy cow. All right, you sent me a note about an esoteric, little-known, and probably underappreciated cartridge that we ought to at least consider talking about and maybe bringing, I don't know if you can even say bringing it back, bringing it up again. How's that?
We definitely think about it as a resurrection. I figured that might catch your interest. I'm sure a bunch of your listeners are familiar with it, but will not be the 356 TSW round. This was introduced sometime in the early 90s, developed by Federal Cartridge and Smith & Wesson, and it was initially designed towards a competitive application, trying to make and this is where the esoteric comes in, trying to make 9mm major power factor in competition USPSA.
Right.
For a variety of things, it wasn't adopted as a round usable in the division in USPSA. They had a minimum bullet diameter of 40, and so it somehow died off. But today, 25 plus years later, we're looking at 9mm rounds especially in the case of where the FBI is going back to 9mm, of issues with penetration, velocity, and such. And what Randy Lee, who's the founder and CEO of Apex, has been working on, and he's slowly been working on this behind the scenes, is a really smart and engineered approach to looking at that round. And the big difference comes to this. The 9mm cartridge was developed 100 years ago, and the 3.56 TSW only about 20-some years ago. The max pressure in a 9mm is 35,000 psi. It's 50,000 in the 3.56 TSW. So what that means for your listeners and such is that you could have a much more effective personal defense round in your carry gun with a short barrel that's able to, push out a 9mm bullet, a 147 grain bullet, at a PSI or a feet per second of about 1,000 or so, and you can go up a little bit higher in a slightly longer barrel. And this would, in the case of law enforcement, give you penetration, which is what they're looking at in FBI and other protocols.
So one of the things that's happening is as we go to, if we stay with the 9. Typically, a lot of us prefer a 115 to 124 grain bullet. But when you go to the 147 grain bullet, it's a bigger bullet, but now it has to inherently go slower. And that's probably a marginal, but maybe okay in a full-size gun. But when you start chopping the gun down and you're carrying some of these subcompact 9s and you go from a 5-inch to a 4-inch and maybe even to a 3-inch barrel, you have given up a significant amount of velocity, and all of a sudden, it's just not performing like it should. Is that what we're talking about?
Exactly. And one of the things, because it is a bigger bullet, if you put more powder in it to make it go faster, in the shorter barrels, that powder is still burning by the time the bullet leaves the barrel. Thus, there's a loss of maximum velocity.
Okay.
As where the 3.56, you can seat the bullet deeper because it can handle the greater pressure without blowing out or having a ruptured casing, and therefore you can actually attain the velocity you want. And right now, he's been in talks with folks at Hornady. They're going to they're putting in an order for us for about 100,000 cases of 3.56 TSW brass, so we can do work on our end. We started reaming barrels. We purchased some reamers, so we're doing some tests on our own. But it really comes down to testing at a higher level with the ballisticians at Hornady, which they are beginning to take a look at as well, all based on a copy of you from Randy, a memo about why it's time to look at that.
I'm looking at that right now. Now, you know what's interesting about this, Paul, and I'm actually over here just grinning. You can't see this, but all right, Apex is a trigger company primarily, but the point of this, and I'm hoping people are getting this, is that when you're a gun guy or gal, you're just a gun guy or gal, and you're not necessarily just a trigger maker or a thing maker. You're a shooter, and you're really interested in all things guns and ballistics, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I think Apex's reputation is based on the company's ability to solve problems that shooters find in arms. So, example of that is people didn't particularly like the performance of the M&P's brake when pulling the trigger, and the first product that Apex manufactured was a seal for the...
Hey, Paul, let me do this. I'm going to do this, Paul. I'm going to take a quick break. We're going to see if we can get you to walk to a little bit better or part of the room or the building, because you're dropping in and out with that crummy cell phone connection we have there. I'm going to take a quick break. We're talking with Paul Earhart from Apex Tactical, talking about, could we end up with a different cartridge that would really be good for self-defense? Shoot a 9mm bullet, just going faster, and would work out of your smaller, shorter barrel guns. I'm liking the idea already. We'll be right back with more Gun Talk.
The
The holster that changes shape with your lifestyle is finally here. Alien Gear Holsters proudly presents the revolutionary Shapeshift modular holster system. The Shapeshift Starter Kit is a base package containing one holster that can easily switch between 4 of the most popular carry positions, including IWB, OWB, appendix, and paddle, depending on your preference or activity. Find more information, including future carry options like shoulder and drop thigh, at aliengearholsters.com.
Nosler has been a leader in bullets and ammunition for decades and keeps growing with new product introductions that follow this tradition. Accurate, highly effective bullets and ammo for long-range shooting, precision rifle competition, and big game hunting. To be the first to hear about new product releases and promotions, follow Nosler on Facebook and Instagram and become part of the conversation. You won't settle, and neither will we. Nosler.com.
Attacks happen every day. How will you react? See real people put into real-life criminal attack situations on First Person Defender. Discover what works and what doesn't. Kidnapping, ATM robbery, home invasion, and other attacks. Learn how to save your life and the lives of your family. Get the entire first season on DVD at shopguntalk.com. Get prepared. shopguntalk.com.
This land, once wild and free, fades now from our memory. But I remember what it was like, what we were like, what we are capable of when we band together. Perhaps more than any other landscape, wetlands embody the life-giving abundance that nature has to offer. And perhaps more than any other organization, Ducks Unlimited is working to ensure that our continent's wetlands not only survive, but thrive for generations well beyond this one. These natural wonders are where waterfowl begin their cycle of life, where the deer and the antelope play, and where we, the people, gather together to see and share what makes the outdoors so great. The time is now to band together with organizations like Ducks Unlimited. The time is now to rescue our wetlands.
It's America's favorite .22 rifle. No matter how, where, or what you like to shoot, there's a Ruger 1022 for you. From the carbine to the incredible takedown models, the tactical and target versions, all Ruger 1022 models have a legendary action and detachable 10-round rotary magazine. Whether you're hunting squirrels or tin cans, there's a lifetime of fun in every Ruger 1022 rifle. See them all at Ruger.com. That's Ruger.com.
Back with you, talking with Paul Earhart from Apex Tactical about the idea of bringing back a cartridge that almost got there some 20 years ago, the 356 TSW. Paul, one of the things I'm thinking about is that, and this is shooting 9mm bullets. Is this a straight wall case?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so if we're pushing 9mm bullets considerably faster than we're pushing them now, we need better bullets because we're going to blow up some bullets if we don't have stronger bullets, right?
Well, the interesting thing is bullet development by the major manufacturers has exceeded what they can deliver and performance-wise what they can do in the 9mm cartridge.
Sure.
So the cartridge itself, because 100 years old, is a limitation. Now they can take a new cartridge, and now what they will be able to do is maximize the current bullet design, but as you pointed out, extend it further because they're not concerned. They now have 15,000 PSI of a safety zone over the 35,000 that the 9mm is rated for. So we'll see better, there's a potential for much better 9mm bullet design in the future, but we can really take advantage of the current designs, which are outstanding. They're just limited by the current case. Okay,
one of the things that the FBI, actually go way back to the Miami shootout, developed its handgun ammunition protocol, their testing protocol. And one of the most difficult, probably the most difficult part of that is shooting through windshield glass. It is difficult. It's a glass at an angle, it's tempered glass, and bullets, it just tears up bullets. And while that was kind of an interesting thing for us up until maybe 3 years ago, now it's become more important as we think about Oh, yeah, that's what ISIS does now. They run over people in trucks, and I may have to shoot somebody through a windshield, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's, we wouldn't think this way previously, but now there is a growing concern, and we see it globally, of terrorists using vehicles, and they're just using random rental vehicles or whatever vehicles they can get their hands on, and driving it into crowds. And stopping in that case for law enforcement as well as the armed citizen is going to come down to an issue of penetration. The myth of shooting the engine block and having it stop on a dime is something made up on TV. It's really going to come down to, unfortunately, shooting the driver, but if it saves lives, that's what's required. And there are other penetration issues through the door, and then further on. And the FBI's is the most comprehensive test. And what they're discovering is out of shorter barrel guns, 3-inch and perhaps even 4-inch, there is some penetration issue with a 9mm in its current configuration that they're using. That's where a 356 TSW may lend itself to superior penetration. In order to do that, we're going to have to rely on, the experts at Hornady to do their magic testing, the stuff the black magic that ballisticians do in engineering room to determine if all this is, viable.
All that, do not try this at home, kids stuff.
Exactly. Yeah, no, this is very, it's very technical. The equipment they use far exceeds what we have. We can do simple chronograph testing and the like, and we've done some of that, and it proves out what we think. But penetration is, that's where the ammunition manufacturers really come in. That's their wheelhouse. That's what they do.
So is this it's the same cartridge overall length? Is the case itself longer?
Yeah, it's a tad bit longer, if I remember correctly, but it does not require. All it is with a 9mm pistol currently manufactured, all that has to be done is the manufacturer would just simply ream out the barrel to the appropriate length. There's no change in magazine, so that's the only difference, and that's a very simple change that any manufacturer can do. In fact, we've spoken to a couple manufacturers already, or Randy has, and there is interest in chambering, pistols in 356 TSW. But it comes down to, it's a chicken or egg thing. They need ammo to justify the gun. Yeah. Ammunition manufacturers need guns to justify manufacturing of ammo. But first we got to prove the point and then, go on. But there are a handful of major manufacturers who have voiced interest in this.
Interesting. So actually, it seems like if you had a 9mm now, you could actually ream that out or have a gunsmith ream that out for you to take this cartridge.
We've been doing that at the shop right now, and Randy's been competing with a 929 revolver from Smith & Wesson that he's reamed out, and this is where it gets kind of esoteric. But because it has a titanium cylinder, if you overpressurize a 9mm round, the cylinder has some flex in it because it's titanium, and if the brass flexes, it becomes stuck. With the 356 TSW, it slides right out. So, revolver competitors are looking at Randy going, what black magic are you using? You never had to hit the ejection rod to throw out the moon clip in the brass.
Okay.
And so it's that's one of those small niche benefits that come of it. But it all goes towards, how the casing handles pressure. And that's really, pressure determines velocity.
Let me also try to put this in perspective, Paul. What you're talking about is a 9mm cartridge that would actually probably, I have to run the numbers, but it's going to be right at or more energy than a 40 S&W, and definitely more than a 40 or right at a 45 ACP. You
could ramp it up. The problem then is manageability of the recoil. But you could get, we believe and theorize, and this is what's got to be borne out by a ballistician, that you could have a totally manageable round that delivers the kind of performance and penetration with the modern bullets simply by using a 356 TSW casing. Now, you can push the limits on the pressure on there and go up to that 50,000 psi. But now you're talking about, potential excessive wear on the gun,
sure.
Heavy recoil, and recoil is part of the problem with the 40 and with some shooters.
And slide velocity, you're going to beat up a slide, and et cetera, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It can definitely chew up a gun pretty fast, and that's part of the problem with, a high-performance ammunition. In order to get better, you got to train with it. The more you train, the more you're wearing and tearing that gun.
Honestly, I have found that the way to take care of that is shoot one-handed, put your other hand back behind the slide.
That might work.
Yeah, that might work.
Too much, but
yeah, but if you do that, be sure to shoot some video for YouTube, right?
Yeah, oh God. Yeah, everybody's now testing guns at home and posting videos on YouTube, and that's not a good idea.
No. You do not want to be
a company that tests guns. It's not a good idea.
An amateur ballistician is like being an amateur test pilot. You really don't want to be doing that.
Nah, because when it goes wrong, it really, really, really goes wrong.
Yeah, it goes wrong so fast. It's over before you know it.
Yeah, reloading is not something for the faint of heart or somebody who is not willing to follow instructions.
That's it.
And
just follow the published loads. You'll be absolutely safe. Just don't exceed them. Don't get out into that never land. So where are we? Are you going to be keeping us posted to let us know what's developing on this?
Oh, absolutely. The ball is kind of in the court of the ballisticians.
Okay.
Once we get our hands on some brass from Hornady, we'll begin doing some loads ourselves. We have a couple people who are interested in some brass and asked us to build up guns, a couple media types who are interested. And so we'll be working with them a little bit. But it'll be, it could be a while. It could be a year, year and a half before we see a commercial load. Sounds
good. Hey, Paul, look, I'm out of time. I got to run. I just want to say thank you. And this is the kind of things that the cool guys over at Apex Tactical are always working on. ApexTactical.com. Paul, thank you so much. Always a pleasure, man. All right, you take care. That would be cool. New cartridge. More power. Yeah. The kind of the modern 9mm, if you will. That would work out of a cool little gun. 866-TALK-GUN.
Sign up for our Gun Talk newsletter and join the Truth Squad at www.guntalk.com. Now, back to Gun Talk with Washington Times opinion page regular contributor Tom Gresham.
And we are back. Tom Gresham here. 866-TALK-GUN, or just dial Tom Talk Gun. That'll get you in. Let's see. Let's go straight to the phones. Line 3, Philip's with us out of Crawford, Texas. Philip, what are you doing here? What are you looking for?
Hello, Tom.
Hey there.
How's it going?
Well, I'm doing great. How can we help you?
Quick question. I've reloaded for a lot of years on my dove loads and my 12 gauge, and IMR has stopped making the 7625 powder.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not having a lot of success online or talking to somebody about what I could find equivalent to that is as good a powder as that is. Do you have any suggestions?
Well, maybe. Let's back up. It's just a powder, and it's just dove loads. So you're looking for, what are you shooting, 1 ounce, 1 1/8 ounce a shot?
Yeah, it's a heavy load. It's like it's my father-in-law was a gunsmith, and he put me onto these and set me up. So they're a high-powered load.
Why?
Because they'll reach way out there.
No, they don't.
Yeah, I've made some awfully long shots with these loads over the years.
I understand. When you say heavy load, are you talking about high velocity or a heavy shot load?
Yeah, it's a heavy. It's probably 1 1/4, 1 1/4 ounce, and I use a low brass.
All right. I mean, I can tell you that it does not kill birds any further than the other loads. It just beats up your gun and yourself. But it's to your own. You get to burn up more lead that way. There are probably 20 or 30 or 40 different powders that'll work for that. Is there something in particular you're trying to reproduce here? I mean, why not just pick any given powder out of the load data?
Well, I can't. I mean, I'm just trying to get somebody to cross-reference a powder that will do what this, and I don't know why they quit making it. Everybody's kind of in an uproar that they've quit making that particular powder. So, I mean, obviously it had a good benefit. I don't know why they stopped making it.
Well, I mean, it could be any reason. They may not make it. They may be importing it, and their importer may have stopped making it, or they can't get it anymore, or it's being used in some military application and they can't get it anymore. There's a lot of reasons, but I would tell you, I would not get wrapped around the axle on this. I would just go find another powder that is available that gives you the same kind of velocities with the same loads, and just switch to that and never look back. I would never give it another thought.
Okay. Well, I didn't know whether you had any experience in that or not.
No, I don't. But I mean, when it comes to especially shotgun powders, I just don't care. Yeah. I mean, I'll swap them out indiscriminately as long as I'm following the load data. It just doesn't matter. It just goes bang and birds fall down.
Okay.
All right. I appreciate it. I wish you luck with it. Let's see. Jim's on 2 out of Nebraska. Hey, Jim, you're on Gun Talk. What you got?
Yes. Good afternoon. I was listening to your guest from Apex Trigger, and I was kind of laughing to myself. I have a 460 Roland,
nice,
which is the same thing he's talking about, except in a 45 as opposed to a 9.
Yep, it is.
And they also made the 460 Roland at one time. Dan Wesson chambered that in their revolver.
Okay.
I have a friend that has one. It's the only reason I know that. I wonder... now, I don't know whether they're planning on the 9 using a compensator like the 460 Roland has to have, or will the FBI toughen up and be able to shoot something with a little more recoil?
I'm so glad you said that, because I mean the whole idea was after the Miami shootout debacle where the FBI agents just got shot up. They said, well, the problem is our ammo's no good and our guns are not powerful enough, so they went to the 10 millimeter, which was not a bad choice, except then they said, well, some of our agents can't really shoot the 10 millimeter well, so instead of dealing with a training issue, they decided to downgrade again, and they created the 40 Smith & Wesson, which is also called the 10 millimeter light, or short and wimpy if you prefer. And so I think you're right on the money. The real question isn't, I guess the answer to your questions is we don't know yet, because they're just thinking about, they're not even developing, they're thinking about developing at this point. So we don't know. I guess the first thing to be determined will be, what will the load be? If they're pushing it a little bit faster but with not a lot extra pressure, then probably you don't need comps, you don't need everything else. But if they go to a full 50,000 PSI with a 147 grain bullet, some guns are going to need comps, but frankly, a lot of people shooting self-defense are not going to have a comp on their gun. I won't. Just don't want it. So at this point, we just don't know. And I'm thinking it's going to be, look at where we are, a year. I think mid-year next year is when we will start learning more about this and what's actually going to happen on it. But it is still a cool idea. And I love the fact that you equate that to the 460 Roland, which is exactly the same thing in 45. More power, different, a little bit slightly different case. The guys at Clark, of course, have been making those for years now.
Yeah, really the only difference is the length of the case.
Yeah, just a slightly longer case to keep it from chambering in the other one. Yeah.
Just like the gentleman said, you bore out the chamber, so it uses the longer case.
Well, and then one of the primary reasons for doing that is like the 38 Special and the 357 Magnum. That keeps you from putting the higher pressure load in a gun that was originally made for the lower pressure load, because there are some 9mm pistols from 100 years ago that you would not want to shoot this higher pressure load in.
Yeah. No, the 460 Roland, great pistol. I would say it's heavier than a Plus P, even with the compensator on it.
That's a fair amount of recoil.
Yes. I mean, but you have to change your spring, of course. I wonder if you're going to have to do that with the 9. I'm sure you would, or you just beat your slide.
Probably. I would think so. And once again, depends on the load they develop. So and Paul mentioned it's a chicken and egg deal. You have ammo development going on over here and gun development going over here, and they have to keep talking and sending ammo and trying it out and back and forth. And eventually, possibly I would bet at SHOT Show 2019 maybe, we get an announcement of one or more gun companies chambering this cartridge and new ammo from Hornady and maybe others. Could happen sooner than that, but that's kind of a timeline. I'm thinking 18 months for the full-blown announcement. We'll see. But look, I appreciate the call, sir. You take care. All right, 866-TALK-GUN, get you in. I'm Tom Gresham. This is Gun Talk.
Every crossbreed holster is handmade based on the design invented by our founder. A Kydex pocket molded around your gun for perfect retention. Leather backing for comfort. Specially designed clips allow you to tuck in your shirt for complete concealment. The highest quality mag carriers and belts sturdy enough to hold any gun. Our holsters come with a lifetime warranty and 2-week try-it-free guarantee. Crossbreed. Conceal and carry the cross. CrossbreedHolsters.com.
For 36 years, the U.S. Sportsmen's Alliance has been fighting to protect hunting, fishing, and trapping for sportsmen from coast to coast. Today, we are under constant attack from extremist animal rights groups who want to end your ability to hunt in the U.S. Join us to protect our sporting heritage and our way of life outdoors. To join or for more information on how you can help, go to ussportsman.org. That's ussportsman.org.
Legends aren't born legendary. They are proven legendary. Like the new FN 509 handgun. A direct result of over 1 million rounds of testing and a direct descendant of over 125 years of legendary FN firearms. The world's most battle-proven firearms. The FN 509. A legend in the making. Find out more at fnamerica.com.
If you're like me, you don't have money to burn, but you still want to buy guns, ammo, and accessories. That's why we created Gun Dealio. That's a free, yes, a free smartphone app. Just download it and start getting the deals. Could be discounts, offers of free magazines for your gun, or you could be the first to hear about new stuff from gun makers. Here's how it works. With Gun Dealio on your phone, you get alerts when you enter a gun store. Special deals, you know. You don't have to do a thing. It'll do a lot of other cool things, like let you watch gun videos and listen to Gun Talk podcast. Plus, check it anytime for hundreds of deals and offers. Getting more while spending less. Smart, huh? Gun Dealio. Made in America. Gluten-free. At the App Store and Google Play or gundealio.com.
Laser sights are an essential firearms training tool, improving the skill level of the shooter by enhancing proper fundamentals like sight alignment and trigger control, and providing life-saving practices that can be depended on in moments of crisis. Call 800-442-2406 or visit crimsontrace.com for a free copy of our laser training video, The Laser's Edge, and learn why Crimson Trace is making laser sights standard equipment.
Color me not surprised. You know how for, 10 years or so, the FBI has been saying they would really like to include with your 4473 background check, your NICS check, I'd like to check that against the terrorist watch list. It's actually called the Terrorist Screening Database, TSDB. And Hillary Clinton kept saying, if you're on the no-fly list, you shouldn't be able to have a gun. We should be able to check that list. And we said, no. And Congress said, no, we're not going to do that because that's a list that nobody knows how you get on that no-fly list, and nobody knows who puts you on, and you haven't committed a crime. Well, according to this article I'm just reading right here, they got a letter from the FBI as part of a lawsuit where the FBI admits that for the last 10 years they've been doing it anyway. Forget the fact that it's illegal. Forget the fact that it's unconstitutional. Every NICS check goes through the Terrorist Screening Database, the TSDB. They're not allowed to do it. They're not supposed to do it. They're actually prohibited from doing it, but they just do it anyway. Like I said, color me not surprised. When we have more time, we'll talk a little bit more about that. Let's see, line 4. Roy's with us out of Waterville, Ohio. Roy, you have a solution for us?
Well, I don't know if it's such a big deal or not. I heard Jim talking about his Bodyguard 380, if I understood him correctly. What I did, and it sounds goofy, it looks goofy, I got a 10-round mag from Pro Mag, put it in my little 380 Bodyguard, and I got the Crimson Trace trigger guard green laser, and then I used the Lehigh Extreme Defense ammo, and it's 5 1/4 inches front to back and 5 1/2 inches top to down. So it really looks weird, but it balances wonderfully. It's perfect. I love it. It's single stack. It's easy. It's light, and I can take it with me everywhere, and I don't leave home without it. It's great.
Roy, it sounds like a Frankengun.
It does. It looks like one. It does. It does. It looks cool. But you hold it. It's one of those things, Tom. You said you got to hold it to appreciate it, but it works great. I love it. And if you want to carry another mag, for crying out loud, you got 21 shots. So
Well, it's funny. I have had guns like that, or guns where you look at them, and you go, that just looks weird. That's just not going to work. And then you pick it up, and you go, son of a gun, that feels great.
That is exactly it. I'm telling it, Jim. That's a challenge, man. Just do it. Try it. Just do it.
Okay, so
it works great. I love it.
All right, 10-round magazine, and then the trigger guard mounted Crimson Trace laser to balance that out.
Yeah.
Who's making that?
Is that Lehigh Extreme Defense? Yep. Right.
Okay, and that's a Pro Mag.
Yes, sir.
Okay, made by Pro Mag.
Yep.
Okay. All right, Jim, you have your marching orders now, so we're. we'll try it.
I want to hear about this. Okay.
All right, sounds good. I thank you, Roy. I appreciate that. And while we're at it, Joe's in Tulsa on line 2. Hey, Joe, what are you looking for here?
Oh, I wasn't looking for anything, Tom. I had to go to the porcelain room during the time I was trying to dial you, and probably made a mistake until after the program was over. I was dialing the last 4 digits as DUNS. And I won't go into all the things that happened then.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, I was trying to answer the guy last week about that 455 Webley cartridge in the gun. Did you ever have anybody call in?
Well, yeah, we had some people calling in, but I mean, it's a week later, so nobody knows what we're talking about now. But you mentioned the 450 Webley. There was a semi-auto revolver that they had. That was kind of cool.
Oh yes, I know that. I was familiar with the loading of the 1911, and apparently the Navy probably didn't like the Webley Fosbury 455 automatic. It was clunky, square. Almost vertical grip, and they never liked it. It had a hammer on the back.
Yep.
And then, of course, they had the small Webleys in the 32 and the 25 that they imported some of those. And then I won't go into the story of Harrington and Richardson paying the...
Well, it's like a lot of this stuff, Joe, or I'm sorry, when you start trying to track it all down, there's a story, and then there's another, and another. It's all hooked together, and that's one of the things we love so much about the guns and ammo and all the other things that we enjoy. It, yeah, we like shooting them, but there's stories there. There's history there. That's why we go to. That's why there are gun museums. Joe, thank you so much for that call. I appreciate that. Hey, when we come back, I want to talk about this thing I've been talking about of reading glass stick-ons for your shooting glasses and how they can help anybody. It's a pretty cool way to help your shooting. 866-TALK-GUN. I'll be right back. Praise the Lord and pass the ammunition. Yeah, a song from World War I. And that goes way back. No, I was not there yet. 866-TALK-GUN. If you'd like to be a part of the after show, give me a call right now. We'll get you in. Bruce is called in from Atlanta on 3. Bruce, you're on Gun Talk.
Hey, Tom. Typical great show. Thank you so much, and especially the way you handled Elizabeth.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I thought that was a good call. I really did appreciate her calling in, because I really do invite people who are not gun people, who maybe don't even like guns, to call in, and we rarely get those. So I'm glad we had that.
Exactly. And what I wanted to tell you, I'm not sure if you classify this as a range report, but a few weeks ago you mentioned the Optics 2020.
Mm-hmm.
I bought the Hydrotac 2020s, put it on my shooting glasses, the one, and to quote you, oh my gosh, there is a front sight out there.
Yeah, and you just put the one on the lens that is your dominant eye, and you put it at the top of the lens, not at the bottom like you do for reading, right?
Exactly, yes. Yeah. Now, my sunglasses, I'm still trying to figure out. I want to put it on the top, but that's where I normally look through on my sunglasses. But I need to be consistent, so I'm trying to figure out how to, use my sunglasses looking through the bottoms. But I'll tell you what, these things I have, I got the TrueGlow TFOs for my Glock.
Right.
And it helped, but nothing has helped like those Optics 2020s.
It is stunning when you put on. What power did you get? Like a 2 or 2.5?
No, I'm still doing the 1.5.
Well, you know what? That's probably best for the distance, because it's not like reading. You've got a front sight out there. 1.5. When you put that on your lens, just stick it on. It's just a drop of water. And then you bring your pistol up, and all of a sudden you're going, holy smoke, look how sharp that front sight is.
Exactly. And my son was when I told him about it, he says, what about parallax? It's like, oh, no. I can see the front sight. My left eye, the non-dominant eye, can still see out there. It's like, these things are great. They're the best thing I've ever heard you. I mean, you give us good information every week, but
how much did you have to pay for it?
Okay. Optics 2020 wanted like $20.
Mm-hmm.
But Amazon was $15.
Sweet. That's like the best $15 you ever spent in shooting, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So thank you so much, Tom. That was the best thing.
Well, good. Very good. Bruce, I appreciate the call. Yeah, if you don't know what we're talking about, it's basically just stick on bifocals, but you put them on the top part of your lens, just on the lens that is your dominant eye when you're shooting. And that front sight on your rifle or your pistol that you've been having trouble seeing all of a sudden becomes super sharp. Normally you're looking at the distance vision underneath it, and it really is just a drop of water. You stick it on the inside of the lens up at the top. It's a game changer. It's once you do it, you're just going to do that old forehead slap, and you go, holy cow, that is great. Yeah, $15 to $20. And you get 2 of them, so you got a spare, or 2 pairs of glasses. Not for driving, because you need the bifocals down at the bottom so you can see the speedometer, et cetera, all of that. All right, so I'm going to throw this out. If you can, if you're able, throw some money in the kitty, help out the folks in Texas and Southwest Louisiana. They need all the help we can get. And we're the good guys and gals, remember. We're the ones who do it right. $10, whatever you can throw in helps. I'm going to be I'm going to be going over tomorrow, delivering a lot of stuff to the folks there. If you'd like to join us for the after show, call us right now, 866-TALK-GUN. In the meantime, watch your 6, hug your family, enjoy your surroundings.